kid's birthday party I gotta go to. You know? It's like always what's his name, or so-and-so, or some acquaintance's kid is turning 8. It's the worst. Choose a real evening. It's exhausting. You gotta get another present. So finally said, I'm sick of this. I'm gonna get my Saturdays back. So last birthday to go to, I just showed up, put my present on the table. 10 minutes later, when nobody's looking, I try to duck out. And right when I was almost scot-free, the birthday boy was like, Dad, where you going? I was like, what? You're playing laser tag. Yeah, man, I'm a dad, I got kids. In my 40s, too. My wife and I had another baby in her 40s. Is that not the craziest thing we've ever heard? Yeah, you forget, man. You know, like, he would not sleep. He'd stay up and scream in our face for months. So we weren't sleeping. Nobody was sleeping. And instead, we stay up and play a little game called How Strong Is Our Marriage, Actually? We're coming up on 15 years of marriage, though, man. 15 years. You have these little moments that very much remind you you're out of the newlywed phase, you know? Like the other day, I don't know, I was just like feeling affectionate, I guess, like in a lovey-dovey mood. And I just sent my wife a random text out of the blue that just said, I want you to know that I love you very much. I thought that was pretty good. Thank you. And then she texts back, what happened? Any random act of affection must mean I'm softening up for bad news. So now I'm stressed out. I'm like, oh man, I've worried her. I gotta nip this in the bud fast. So I was like, think quick. So I just text back. I was like, sorry, wrong number. And 15 years of marriage though, man. They say you gotta spice it up. You gotta spice it up. So my wife and I, we play Truth or Dare. Thought that would be fun. Pro tip, if you're married, just play Dare. Dare's exciting, Dare's fun. Truth is a minefield. But it might have been my fault, because my wife, she's like, all right, what's one thing that you think would be super attractive that you've never seen me do, but would like to see me do? And I was like, apologize. And that... Not the dumbest thing I've ever said. I was actually engaged before I met my wife. And I remember my fiance and I at the time were having a very tender moment. And she said to me, she's like, I'm so excited to be getting married to you. I want you to know that I love you unconditionally. And then I said, well, I don't think anybody loves somebody unconditionally. And she was like, what? So he's like, no, I absolutely love you unconditionally. That's why we're getting married. Are you saying you don't love me unconditionally? I was like, I just don't think anybody loves somebody unconditionally. She was like, what are you talking about? She couldn't believe what she was hearing. The thought she could walk down the aisle and marry someone who didn't feel the same way was too much. She couldn't get past it. So she left. We called off the wedding, broke the news to our parents, and my entire world came crashing down around me. And I gotta tell you, just felt good to be proven right. You know, this is what I've been saying. It does. It does amaze me though that I'm married. You know, for one, I've been told I seem like a pretty boring guy, like a bit of a square. Like somebody told me recently, I look like character default, whatever that means. You know. But I think the thing I was able to do to close the deal, I was able to make her laugh. That helped, you know. But I wish I was these guys. You know, you see them at the pool, shirts off, just shredded, just like an 8-pack. See dudes at the beach, just pecs for days. They just let the pecs take the wheel. I wish I was that guy. I'm not that guy. Like, there's no pecs under here. There's no muscles. Like, when I take my shirt off, it looks like the disease is winning. Do you understand? It's quite funny. 15 years. We used to fight a lot. That was stressful. We hardly ever fight now, which is nice, you know. But, like, I don't know, we went through a lot early on in our marriage. Like, when we first got married, we were barely scraping by financially. Like, everything was in collections. We were on the brink of bankruptcy. Every day was stressful. But a few years ago, we got our act together, paid off all of our stuff, and get this, bought a house. And get this, thank you, 2.85 mortgage interest rate. 2.85, baby. Yeah, thank you. Because my wife gets mad. She's like, you gotta stop telling people that. You're gonna make them feel bad. You can't get that interest rate anymore. I'm like, stop telling people. Do you know how much money that saves us every month? I want to shout it from the rooftops. It's my single greatest achievement. What I'm the most proud of in life. And then she gets all mad. She's like, oh really? What about the kids? I'm like, the kids? They've never saved us a dime. What are you talking about? You gotta understand, just early on, it was tough, man. Like, we were scraping by so much. I had to donate plasma twice a week, every week for a year. It's a real high point in your life. When you go to buy groceries at the grocery store, if you're wearing a t-shirt, you gotta explain the track marks in your arm to the cashier. You catch her glancing down, you're like, what? Oh, no, I'm not a drug addict. No, I'm just a failure. Please bring up my powdered milk. Oh, yeah. No, but we've figured out a lot, man. You know, like I said, we used to fight a lot. We barely fight now, which is nice. But even if we fought all the time, I would do whatever it takes to make it work. I could never get divorced from my wife, ever. Because we've been married for coming up 15 years. We have kids, history, roots. And I know if I got divorced from my wife, I could never find another mortgage for a 2.85 interest rate ever again. Not in this lifetime, you know? We got kids, man. Our second youngest is autistic, and he's nonverbal, so he can barely say anything. So the way that he expresses himself is with art. He draws like 30 pictures a day, but you can't keep them all. 30? That's not sustainable. I'd be filling up closets, you know? So I have to throw away like 28, 29 of these at a time. But every now and then, right as I'm throwing them away, he'll bust me. Do you know how awkward that is? When you're looking at each other, as he's watching you throw away how he expresses himself in the world. So I don't know what to do. I panic and I get defensive. I'm like, oh, so now you make eye contact. How convenient. Does not bother me that he's autistic. There's always things other people say, you know, to get on my nerves. Because look at this one time at a time. Let's talk about this lady. Came up, he was autistic. First thing out of her mouth was, is he high functioning? As if that doesn't put me in an awkward spot. Because they never stop to think, what if he's not? Before they ask that. They just fire off a question at the top of the spectrum, then I got to figure out what to do with that. Is he high functioning? I wouldn't say that, Becky. But based off the social skills you've displayed in this conversation, I don't think you are either. I don't like the way that people react to you when you take your autistic kid out in public, you know, because kids on the spectrum are loud. They have no awareness. So if they flip out, they don't care they're in a grocery store. But the way it looks to everybody else, it's just a regular kid that's completely out of control. So every now and then you get somebody who's feeling a little brave and they'll say something. But there is nothing better than the moment you let them know they just criticize a kid with autism and seeing the look on their faces, they absolutely panic. It's so satisfying. I throw it out there whenever I can. And sometimes it doesn't apply 100%. But come on, man, were we splitting hairs? Because they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, he's autistic. And they're like, okay, but sir, you still can't be in the women's locker room. He's half Filipino. That's right, in an interracial marriage. But here's the thing, he looks full. This kid looks straight Asian. Do you understand? And I know what you're thinking. I can see it on your faces. You're like, you need to go talk to your old lady. He's like, no, it's not what it is. What happened is when our genes met in the womb to try and work it out, hers beat the snot out of mine. Like her DNA was smashing my DNA's face up against the inside of the egg. Like, yeah, your privilege will protect you, you little punk. I hope you like rice. Here's my biggest frustration, is the people that just don't get it. You know, they see a situation, they don't have all the facts, and they just jump to conclusions. Like the other day, I'm in the grocery store parking lot, and I'm just trying to get this kid in the car, man, and he's fighting me. But all anybody sees is a white guy shoving an Asian kid into the back of his car, against his will, with whom he has no resemblance whatsoever. And I gotta be like, look, my son has autism. and this kid's going to be his new friend. So maybe a little less judging would help with this feisty fella. I love being a comedian. It's a weird time to be a comic. People get so mad at us over jokes, try to get us canceled, all this crazy stuff. That's why I go by Pete Jr. on stage. People ask me, like, why don't you use your last name? Because I'm paranoid. I'm afraid somebody tried to track me down, get me fired over a joke. But here's the thing. My youngest son has autism. So if he did get me fired over a joke, that means I could not afford his autism program anymore. He'd ultimately be the one impacted. And I don't know what's worse, man. Getting somebody fired over a joke. You're using your son's disability to avoid the consequences of your actions. I gotta get out of here pretty soon. I'll leave you with this. I'm from here. I grew up in Utah. You know, I grew up Mormon, but I didn't go on the Mormon mission. But I give those guys all the credit in the world. You know, that's a tough gig. Because outside of Utah, nobody's excited to see our boys roll up their street. You know what I mean? Nobody's looking out their window, sees those dudes on mountain bikes turn up and goes, oh yay, they're here. This is when everything changes. No, they can't close those blinds fast enough. They're hitting lights, closing blinds, hitting doors, pretending like they're not there. See, that's where I think the government really dropped the ball during the pandemic. They were all stressing out, how do we get people to comply with shelter-in-place orders? You should have called us. Because we've been locking down neighborhoods for years. Which, by the way, wouldn't that be an epic visual? If the next pandemic's like the big one? Total apocalyptic, collapse of society, nobody dares come out of their homes, and the only ones rolling through the streets is Mormon missionaries in gas masks like, did we not warn you these were latter days? I didn't know I threw in the British accent, it just makes me happy. You guys ready for your headliner tonight? These Dry Bar specials are fan favorite, top 10 millions of views. Give it up for Tymon Shipp!
I made it through Salt Lake City Airport. You been there? Yeah, I aged 3 years just getting out of there. But I made it. I made it through there. Glad to be here. You guys travel? You love traveling? Yeah. Only thing about traveling is we get a lot of crazy people that travel, and they try things that we just would never understand why they would do. Like in France, a guy tried to hide a half a kilo of cocaine under his toupee. What, you didn't think the lump on the top of your head would be seen? I don't understand. Yeah. Then you get, with people that, that sleep on your shoulder. And they didn't get permission to sleep on your shoulder. Or the kid that's in the back, you just want to get him. They said, he's just going to be fine. Sure he is. He's been screaming the whole way. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know. So yeah, I made it out from LA. Good, I love coming out to Utah. You guys, hey, I'm always treated very well. People are always very nice. If you go to LA, I'm sorry, you're not going to get the same thing. Yeah, you got to deal with all the weirdos and, yeah. And we try. Did you guys help the homeless? Do you help the homeless? Yeah, I love helping the homeless. I do. But in LA, they have homeless snobs. If you can think about that. That just thinking. I was at Denny's, and I went out. I'm there, and I see a guy, and I said, hey, I'm going to get him something. So I go inside Denny's, and I get him a cup of coffee, and I get him a muffin. And I said, here you go, bro. He said, I'm sorry, bro. I don't do flour. I'm vegan. What is a vegan homeless person? I told him to eat the weeds and everything and quit bothering people for money. He said, and also, can you get some oat milk for my coffee? Yeah. No problem. I really got it. I'm a nice guy. Yeah. Different. I saw that it was raining a little bit as we came in, Yeah. And, there was rain. Driving just never changes for a lot of folks. How's it driving out here? Pretty good? Yeah, thank you. You're going through the same pain I'm doing in L.A. I don't know why people, when it comes to water, if you see a F-150 stuck, you're not going to make it in a Prius. Why? I have all-wheel drive. I don't care how much you got. Now you have a submarine. That's what you have. And you want people to come get you out. And then here comes the guy, in L.A., here comes the guy in the Porsche, 911. He's going to drive through. No, you can just park over there next to the Prius and sit on your hood. It's always though, they just don't think that, that they're going to go through anything. Yeah, we're going through a lot in our world. I love to pay attention to the insaneness of our society, of what they call normal. Like they're worried about AI. They say, artificial intelligence is coming. Yeah, but you should be worried about natural stupidity. That's what's dangerous. Yes. Ever talk to a flat earther? Huh? You didn't think they existed? Whole club of them. And they will debate you. I was on a cruise ship. That's where you run into a lot of them at, on a cruise ship. The flat earthers are there. And they love to tell you about the world. This woman's telling me, you know why you can't, you can't go over the edge? No, why can't you go over there? Because when you get just to the certain part, there are missiles pointed at us, and it makes the ship turn around. Really? And they don't believe in, that the earth, do not believe that the earth is round. It says, we can fly up to where a plane, you can actually see the world. Oh, no. That's just not, that you can't believe that. Television, that's not real. We didn't go to the moon either. Oh, you've been to the moon? I just know we're not going. We didn't ever met. I said, do you have children? She said, yes, we do. We have children. Oh, so you're producing. You're going to sell this to them too. And there's going to be more of them. Yes. Yeah. You're going through it, man. Are we going through it? I think it's time to thin the herd. It's time to get rid of some of them, Let me ask you a question. Why do we have to keep putting signs up to tell people not to do dumb things? Why do you have to put a sign up that says, please do not take selfies with buffalo? Why do we have to tell them not to do this? And the buffalo is sitting there. He sees the sign. He can't read, but he knows there's a sign there. He's been dealing with humans for a while. And they go right at, ooh, girl, get a picture of me and the buffalo. And you see it on Facebook, some woman flying. Did you film that? I was gored by a buffalo. He should have ran you over. I don't know. I don't. Some guy stuck his hand in the geyser water at Yellowstone. Said, oh my God, it's hot. And his hand was burning. He says, I'm saying to myself, you didn't see that it was hot? There's no sign. Doesn't need to be. It's boiling. Doesn't boiling mean hot? Don't we tell our children, don't touch hot things? But they're out there. They're doing this. Yeah. And it scares me because I have to work with these people. You guys have to go around with them too. It's different. Yeah. Tough times for folks. Yeah. Matter of fact, a woman up in Northern California found out her husband was a serial killer. And she's wondering if she should stay with him for the children. No, you should leave. You're next. This is what we're dealing with. We're trying to work with them. The kids. What do you think of the kids? They're young. I love kids. I love the young people. Yeah. My nephew told me the other day, Unc, you don't know anything about cell phones. I said, yeah, but you can't read a clock. No, don't try to fix it. Yeah, you're the same kid that went out and paid $125 for jeans that had holes already in the knees. I know what I'm dealing with. I know what I'm dealing with. I try to work with them, moved in with my girlfriend. I'm 61. Moved in with my girlfriend. Yes. Yeah. And when you move in with women, all of your stuff is going to the Goodwill. You're not keeping anything. I said, can I keep that fly swatter? No, that doesn't go with the decor. I learned these words, decor. You can't have that. Really, she had a flowery little yellow fly swatter. She said, see mine? Mine is yellow. See this color and how it works with everything in the house? Does it kill flies? That's all I want to know. Does it kill a fly? Yeah, you just aren't getting it. Yeah, I found out a lot of things. I found out that only reason why she wanted me to move in is because she wanted to put me to work. Found all these jobs. But she was shocked that I knew how to do some things. Like put dishes in the dishwasher. You know how to do that? Yes, I know how to put dishes in the dishwasher. I noticed you know how to work a mop. Yes, I can work a mop. And you cook? Yes. What's for dinner? I said, okay, there we go. You were doing this. You were setting me up. I knew what this was. This is a setup. But I am there as, men turn into, and I've gotten good at this because, she says to me, you really listen. I do. I have to, because I have no choice. Where am I going to go? You moved me out of my apartment. Now I'm living with you. I have to be here. I can't go anywhere. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do. But we get along. We have been getting along. We found out we got a lot of crap. A lot of stuff, We had 2 of everything. We had to get rid of it. But she went and said, well, you have so much stuff, it's got to go. So I said, okay, fine. I'm just down to my toothbrush. Anything else you want to do? It's down to my toothbrush. She said, oh, yeah, okay, you can keep the toothbrush. Yeah. Now, and speaking of that, I no longer put my toothbrush in the bathroom. Yeah, I put it in the living room because I found out that the splash from your toilet can go 6 feet and hit your toothbrush. They said, because it gets jerked. I said, I put it all over the bathroom, the ceiling, so I said, shoot, I put it in the living room. My girlfriend said, what are you doing that? Says it's going to go, the toilet goes 6 feet, can't put it in the bathroom anymore. And she's got that new toilet that talks to you. You guys seen that? Yeah. She only liked it because the seat is warm. That's the only reason why she likes that toilet. She said, wow, it has a heated seat. Yeah, okay. That's why you spent money on it. Well, also it's a bidet. It'll clean you. Okay, great. That's nice too. Yeah, but if you come in and you're covered in water, I know you didn't get it right. So okay. Yeah. And I'm glad to see. I didn't mind a little rain today, but I was driving. I did a gig out in Laughlin, Nevada. You ever been Laughlin, Nevada? Went out to Laughlin, and I did the Alcohol Anonymous convention. Yeah, at the Riverside Casino. Yes. And all you heard was when they would take a break. That's all you heard all day long. You met their lungs before you met them. And they were there. But on my way out there, the winds were 45 to 50 miles an hour. And they're blowing your cars. You've been in your car swinging on the 15 freeway. You're trying to get there. And some guy pulls up in the fast lane in an SUV, BMW. He's got his hands on both wheels. Looks over at me, I look over at him. And then all of a sudden he leans over and he lets down his window. And he tries to spit a loogie out the window, which shot back in and hit me right in his face. And I'm sitting there saying, dude, I almost wrecked my car. I was laughing so hard. Why do people think they can spit in 45 mile an hour wind? It's either going to hit you or it's going over your windshield. It's like playing golf with your buddy. Any golfers in here? You guys play golf? Okay, wow, that's the first. No golfers? Well, I was playing with my buddy. We playing in high wind, and He said, man, I got to go to the bathroom. I said, oh, well, hey, the next tee, they got a bathroom up there. Oh, no, I got to go now. So he jumps out of the cart, runs over to a tree. Yeah, and when he gets back, he's soaked. And I said to him, what did you not think? Well, I got into the bushes. I don't care if you were in the bushes. It doesn't matter. The wind is high. Now you're going to have to walk in the wind till you dry. I don't know why people know why we do it. I don't know why we do it. I deal with also where living in LA. I don't know. I didn't see that out here. The lip issue that we have. Everybody's getting giant lips. What is it with the lips? Is there a lot of lip people out here? I saw a woman that I've been to parties and the lips are so big, the women, they can't open their mouth. They sound like mush mouth off Fat Albert. And. What'd you say? Hadden. I've gone down to Hadden. And then all you can say is And I had to stop speaking to her because she was spitting all over my glasses. And I just got tired of cleaning them. I don't know why. Yeah. And they're doing the same thing with the giant butts, everything. I don't know why. A woman at my job went out and got her a giant one and said, oh my God, it's so heavy. And then, now she's taking walking classes on how to walk with one. You just can't go out and do this. Men are going down to Mexico and getting their legs broken so they can be 2 inches taller. Did you hear this? Yes. Yeah. They're getting this done. I know some brothers in the hood, they'll do it for free. They'll beat you up and break your legs if you want that. You don't have to go all the way to Mexico. I know some guys that'll do it. And they're spending all of this money. I'm trying to understand. I'm just telling them, leave yourself alone. The piercings, my niece was talking to her, she's got all these piercings, and she went and got that ball and chain to where it just swings. And you're trying to talk to her, and you're following the ball. And I said to her, can you just take that ball and shove it in your nose while I talk to you? Because I am really tired of watching it just swing there. And she had the piercings in her lips for a while too, which messed up her speech. And she said, what's wrong? I said, you just take a little of that metal out of your lips, you might hit some nouns and some verbs. Right now, you're just spitting all over my glasses. It's tired. I don't understand. People with glasses have problems because everybody's talking to them and spitting all over them and everything. Yes, going through it, And everyone's telling everyone to move to different cities. I love Provo. Provo's beautiful. You guys live in a very beautiful city. Yeah, but people are telling me you should leave Los Angeles. Why do you want to go there? I said, where am I going to go? Mississippi? Have you been to Mississippi? Have you talked to people from Mississippi? People in Mississippi can't spell Mississippi. M-I-S-I-I-I-P-P, no. Yeah, that's where they name all the women Bubba. Yeah, they're named Bubba. Yes, they are. Yeah. Tough times. Yeah. A man in Mississippi was murdered. He was stabbed 24 times in the back. And the police believe it's a possible suicide. That's Mississippi. Yeah, that's Mississippi. Yeah. I try to tell them, they say, oh no. It's tough. Doing what we're doing. We're trying to make it in the world. I'm seeing what's going on. Like I said, I work with young people. I was talking to a young kid the other day. Had bones in his nose and his ears, looking like Mobutu. He said, I can't get a job. Really? They don't hire mutants? Are you sure? I'm sorry that they did not hire you. You can't put bats on the back of you. You can't tattoo bats on the back of your neck and think they're going to hire you. I'm sorry. And don't put death there either. What are you guys doing? Oh, I was thinking of going corporate. I don't think so. It's not happening. No, it's not happening. No. Yeah, but I work for LA County Probation Department, Juvenile Hall. Yes. Work with, been there almost 40 years. I work with juveniles from 13 up to almost 22 years old. Murderers, rapists, gangbangers, pedophiles, yeah. And they always say to me that you adults don't understand them. Have you heard this? He said, you adults, you don't understand it. I said, you know what? You're right. I don't understand you. You have a 20-inch waist. You want a size 50-inch pair of pants with a belt that wraps all the way around your body and a shirt that goes down to your knees. And you say, I'm cool. No, you're stupid. You don't know your size. You're dumb. You can't be a good criminal wearing baggy pants. You're running down the street trying to get from the cop. Where are they going? I saw 3 kids hooked on a fence and everything they stole was just falling out. There they are, officer, right over there. Everything is just falling out. And they just, Mr. Shipp, you're really hard on us. I said, no, I'm just trying to help you. When your file looks like, 3 or 4 volumes, you should stop stealing. Well, I'm trying. You're not good at it. Quit stealing. Kid stole the neighborhood ice cream truck and parked it in front of his house. So how'd they know it was me? They wanted ice cream. That's how they knew it was you. He said, well, how did you grow up? I said, you really don't know. I said, I'm 61 years old. You have no idea. I grew up in, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois. Yeah, that's Miles Davis, Ike and Tina Turner, all those guys. They grew up, in that area, Cahokia, Illinois. Yeah, and that's back when your parents, you're like my mom, blue collar, worked for the post office and, got into sewing. And my mom came home one day and made an announcement. I'm not buying y'all nothing else. Anything you get, I'm making it. Well, Mom, what are you making this? Knickers. Mama, black kids don't wear knickers. You will, boy. Remember the little pants with the little jacket, little bow tie? Put that hat on your head. Gave me white shoes with black heels and a big gold buckle on the side. You know what they called me when I got to school? A black leprechaun. The teacher, why don't you let the little black leprechaun go up on the board and put the ABCs up? And she was like, little black leprechaun, would you like to come on up and put the ABCs on the board? By the time I got home, my mother had made me another 7 or 8 of those leprechaun suits. I came to school with a butter knife, threatening to stab all of them. Mess with the leprechaun now. Come on. They called my mother, Miss Shipp, can you come get the leprechaun? He went crazy. Got a beating all the way home for that. My mother said, you could at least brought a sharp knife, boy. What you gonna do? Spray the butter all over? Yeah, I'm number 7 of 8 kids. Yeah, number 7. Back when parents were just having baby races. Did you know this? That they had baby races? Yeah, trying to see how many babies, well, my aunt, I got 7 so far. How many you got, Rose? I got 7. I got another one way, though. 7 kids. I'm the uncle of over 40 nieces and nephews. Yeah. I don't know all their names. They give them names like Ajane, Dejane, Jasmarion, Zamir. Yeah, I have one nephew named, Tafari Jamal. Yeah, well, that's an African prince's name. Yeah, that boy ain't going nowhere near Africa. They're going to call him TJ. And that's what we call him, TJ. Oh, you're not working with them. I understand it all. And they thought because I work in probation that I should be the guy talking to the kids about cyberbullying. You guys familiar with the cyberbullying thing? And I'm kind of blown away because when I grew up, your bully came to see you. He didn't send you a note. He told you, after school, it's going to be me and you. Yeah, you better bring everybody this time. And you got told that. I tell my teacher, can I leave early, please? I just want to go. And so they had my nephew, Titus, had a bully down. So my sister, can you talk to him? I said, well, I'll do my best. I said, come here, Titus, what's going on? Uncle Tymon, there's a boy down, let's go picking on me. What should I do? And I said to him very calmly, I said, burn him, set him on fire. Fire has a way of getting people to leave me alone. They won't bother anymore. A little gas, they'll leave me alone. And they'll spray the word around the school. Don't mess with Shipp, he'll burn you up. Yes, he will. So I got bullies to leave me alone. You gotta get a little crazy. Could have been like my friend Fred. My friend Fred was a rock thrower. You guys didn't have any guys you grew up with that could throw a rock. He should have been a baseball player. Fred had a Superman lunchbox. Remember the Superman lunchbox? And in the lunchbox he carried an apple, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and rocks. And this kid was stealing his bike. And I yelled out, "Hey, Fred, he's stealing your bike." And Fred took his little lunchbox and opened it up and started saying, "So which one of these rocks should I hit him with?" And the kid, he's running as hard as he could. Fred stood in the center of the street like Clint Eastwood and pulled his rock and that rock went flying and just hit this kid right in the back of the head. Whap! And the kid falls off the bike. Where did that come from? And he didn't know that when he turned around, Fred had already reloaded. And here comes another one. That rock straight, right in the chest, knocked him down. I said, wow. And I'm saying, man, you thought he should have become a great baseball player or something. No, but he was good for gang fights, anything. We would put him in a tree like a sniper. And just take kids out. There he is, Fred. And just throw them down, hitting kids as they go by. It was great. Yeah, it's great. Always needed a friend like that. You had those friends that, especially when you had guys that would just steal anything. Do you remember when they had gas wars? Who knows it? I know some people remember the gas wars when they were, the reason why they started putting locks on your gas caps is because people were stealing your gas. And they had guys in my neighborhood who were good at it. There was a guy named Glenn. He was the biggest gas thief in our neighborhood, right? He gets, you could fill your car up that night. By morning, your car was on empty. He had sucked all the gas out of your car. One time, Glenn was on his way home. He had just sucked gas out of an old truck, and just as he got to his house, he lit a cigarette and blew up. His afro flew off. His Converse landed on somebody's roof, and the old ladies on the porch said, "Uh-huh, boy, I knew you'd blow up one day. I told you to get a job. Quit stealing gas." Yeah, right. So that's why I told them, you guys don't want my life. You don't want to grow up like I did. My mother got my tennis shoes down at the grocery store. They were hanging on a meat hook next to the bologna. They called them cold cut tennis shoes. You go in there, "Harold, give me 2 pounds of bologna and a pair of those cold cut tennis shoes up there." You got dogs following you home because you smell like cold cuts. You don't want that life. Yeah. Tough times for people, And they want us to go, actually, I was thinking about it, they want us, America is pushing for our society to go back to the 60s and the 70s. Did you hear about this? They want to bring back things like bell bottoms. Remember bell bottoms? They want to bring them back. But, bell bottoms are nothing but death pants. You ever ride a bike, get that cuff caught in the spokes? Just hung you, just kept pulling you down. Bell bottoms are only good if you're drowning. You can blow them up and make a raft out of them. Brothers, they want to bring back afros, I saw some kids in Target. There's these giant afros. They look like bushes. It was so big. I said, "Man, where's your child?" "Well, here he is. His feet. You can see his feet. But you couldn't see him. His afro was huge." The brothers that used to wear afros, they're bald today. Their hair grown in the back of their head. They call it an af. Little young girls are wearing platform shoes. They don't know about platform shoes. The women that used to wear those shoes, their feet are messed up today. Toes just stacked on top of each other. Look like they've been in a war. Yeah, man can strike a match off your baby toe. It's too sharp. It's way too sharp. Take care of your feet. Yeah, so it's different. I said to my nephew, I said, that was a time that was back when you got discipline. That's back when your parents could whoop you with your toys and then give them back to you once you play with them. A lot of you guys here got whooped with Hot Wheel tracks, I'm sure. Your mother, you thought she was a samurai. And she was lit. Or there were kids who actually got hit with Tonka trucks. That's back when they were made out of steel. There were a lot of kids walking around with contusions. You didn't. Yeah, you can't do that. And I told friends, when we structure at my job, you can't discipline like that. You can't tie your kid to a tree and leave him out there all night. You can't do that anymore. It's against the law. You got to follow the lead. You got to work with them. Yeah. So it's tough times out there, man. I got my nephew a car. Yeah, helped him get one. Yeah, didn't appreciate it though. He said, "Man, why can't I get a Mustang? I'm an influencer." Yeah. Well, influence up on some money. How are you influencing? You live in the basement. These are the biggest influencers. When you move out of the basement, then you can influence. Influence a job and influence some bills. Yeah, that's how you take care of that. I don't mind helping, because I've helped, many kids at my job. We got some kids a job at Starbucks. Yeah. They were doing okay till the manager fired the girl's boyfriend. I said, "Why did he fire her?" "He fired my boyfriend." The kid, tattooed devil horns on his skull. Yeah, and I told her, "Young lady, people don't want a latte from Satan." Can you imagine you've been out all night and you come in the morning and the devil is serving coffee? "We have that devil's food cake for you. Would you like that milk steamed?" Shh. We're not doing that. "Well, you guys are just, you're being too rough on us." No, I don't think I am. I probably don't think I'm being, solid enough. Like a lot of parents today, I counseled some parents at work, and the woman called up and she said, I can't discipline my child. I can't whoop her. She's been stealing my car." I said, "But yet you can pepper spray her. It's okay. You can pepper spray your child." I said, "Sit in her room. When she steals your car, sit in her room in the night. When she gets home, click the light on. Oh, Jesus. That's pepper spray there. It says right here, we can pepper spray you. Yeah, and don't steal my car again." You didn't whoop them. Just a little pepper spray. Don't steal your parents' car. It works. They won't do it again. A lot of parents call it, "Oh my God, it works great." I said, just don't use bear spray. Pepper spray is good. Don't get a little carried away. I was at, you guys go to, is your DMV crazy out here? It is? I don't know why they make the DMV so great. I was at the DMV on Friday. And I got to get the real ID. You heard about this, the real ID? I'm getting it, I don't understand. I have an ID. I have a driver's license, but they want you to have a real ID. What's the difference? The little symbol they put up in the corner, that's it. Other than that, there's no more. So I had to go and stand. I made an appointment, I stood in line, and I'm waiting to get my picture. And in the DMV, you always see something wild that's going to happen. And they're always in there, and they're doing things because you don't know what you're going to run into. And there's these two guys. And the dude is giving the other guy, discipline lessons on how to beat up his kid. He's standing in line saying, "See, what are you doing?" He goes, "Well, he jumped me the other day, and he's a little bit bigger than me, so what you got to do?" Mind you, I'm waiting to get my picture taken. Well, yeah, you got to get your hands in there. You got to, give him a little elbow, and then you got to kick him, and then you got to, I said, "Dude, this is no time to be Bruce Lee. Please let me take my picture. You can show him all the moves outside." I already had to deal with some person behind me going, "Oh," just didn't go, "Oh." I said, "Can we fix this in a minute? I just want a picture." And my picture didn't probably come out very well because I was tired of frowning around all the people. And we try to make our driver's license picture very nice looking. Try to smile. They don't give you too many chances, Yeah, they don't do that, So I got out of there, fine, and got on the freeway. I'm on my way home, and I'm driving, and all of a sudden, and in LA, when you finally get an opening on the freeway, you take it, and you're moving. I'm driving, and I look over to my left, and I see this woman. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And she leaned over and went click and locked her door. Like I can get out of my car, "Give me your money." Drive her and get back in my car and drive off. I told her, if the brother's doing that, boy, you're in trouble. That's the Spider-Man. What are you doing? I noticed also, and you guys have probably seen this too, we're spending a lot of money on surveys. Yeah, we have spent a lot of money. They spent, I don't know, $30 to $20 million on surveys. They put out the 10 most dangerous foods you should not eat while driving. This is a survey that they took out. What do you think number one on the list was? Give me some food. What do you think? A burger. What? Sandwich. Soup. Watermelon. What?
Hot dog.
Hot dog. Number one on the list, ribs. Ribs will kill you. They had a brother up near Northern California, 10-car pileup, ribs all over the freeway. 3 of them down his throat. You can't dip ribs and drive. But that wasn't what blew me away. What blew me away was number 2 on the list. Number 2 on the list, French fries. Can you imagine you're in your car, you're driving, you're doing about 75, you're on the freeway, you're driving, and you're eating your French fry, and all of a sudden one of them drops down between your legs. And you got a whole bag here, but you want that one fry that just keeps easing up under your butt. I don't know why you want it. You got a whole bag here, but you don't want those. You want that one fry. You're doing 75, you're driving, and you're trying to get to this one fry, and you're moving all around and switching, and let it go. It will still be warm and you can eat it later. You're in the car, it's your fry, yeah, and no one will know. Don't go, ugh, it's yours. I was blown away by that. The old French fries, what they were doing. Man, who would have thought? But food, people forget about food, don't they? Do you guys do buffets? You do. You like buffets. Now, some people won't go to a buffet because they're worried about germs. Everything's a germ, You can't touch anything or whatever. It's like, potluck dinners. You go to potlucks at your job? Yeah. You have that coworker, doesn't look like he's a little strange. He's bringing something to the potluck. He's the one bringing the casserole surprise that's sitting in the corner. Yeah, and it's bad when you have to take all of your clothes off to go to the bathroom after eating that casserole surprise. Boy, man, this is terrible. You're taking your shoes off, holy moly. Sweating, baby, okay? I'll be here in a minute. You just can't go and just eat stuff, man. You just can't. Everybody can't cook. Don't think that they can. I know they're nice, but don't eat everything. I went to church and saw some beans bubbling on the table. No fire up under them. I said, hey, you like some beans, brother? No, you can keep those. I'm not going to. Not eating those. I ate everything else, but I didn't eat those. My mother taught me, boy, everybody don't cook well. Don't eat that. Don't eat everybody's food. Different. A lot of people different, And like I said, my dad was, when I told you I went to Alcohol Anonymous, the stories I told at Alcohol Anonymous, I told about my parents, my family, because I had, alcohol, but my dad should have been a stunt man. He drank so much, he said, never missed a day of work, right? Work, 5 days a week, never missed work. But one day, we could not find my father. We didn't know where he was. We called the morgue, we called the police, couldn't find him. One day Saturday morning, I got my football uniform on, and I come out, and I look down, and on the front porch, there was my father. He had been out there so long, he had snow on his back. Yeah. And I said, hey, Ma, here Daddy is. Where he at, boy? Right here. Get him up. I'm taking him to be dried out. She was very upset. But my sisters came out. Ooh, girl, check his pockets. Oh, check his pockets. Ooh, girl, that Crown Royal? Get the Crown Royal. Ooh, girl, that weed? Get the weed. And they ran back. Oh, he just drunk. They ran back in the house. And my sister Hannah comes out. And she's, oh, Dad, you're dead, Dad. You're dead. Oh, my God, Dad. My mother said, he ain't dead. He's just numb from all that crap he's been drinking. Get him up. And we got him up and put him in the car. And this is why I say that my dad should have been a stunt man. My mother's driving. My dad's in the passenger seat. My sister Hannah and I are in the back. We're driving. And as my mother shifted gears, my dad started waking up. He says, Rose, where are you taking me? Well, we're taking you over Marlon's house and help her move. No. I know where you're taking me. You're taking me to the crazy house. I know where you're taking me. And my sister Hannah, oh, Dad, you're dead, Dad. Hannah, shut up all that crying. And then look back at, Tymon, is that you? Tymon, you non-football playing boy, you couldn't catch a football if you had glue all over your body. And my mom said, shut up, shit. And we pulled up to this Clean Station Road, this steep hill. I mean, this hill is steep. And just as my mother's getting up to 50 miles an hour, we just get to the top of the hill, my dad turns around and said, Hannah, you crazy and I ain't dealing with you no more. And Tymon, you non-football playing dude, I'm not dealing with you. And Rose, I'm not dealing with you with your non-driving stuff. And he opened the door and stuck his foot out. And he looked back like, oh my God! And his road smashed him. And he's rolling down the hill. And my mother hits the brakes. Then my sister Hannah went from crying to laughing. We're cracking up. And he's rolling down the hill, howling, oh no. Oh. He rolled down the hill, crossed the intersection, bumped into the curb, staggered to his feet, hat still cocked on the side of his head, and said, taxi. Didn't have a scratch on him. None. I said, man, he should have became a stunt man. How do you do that? It's always those guys that can get through that. Never missed a day of work. Finally retired after, I think he did like 35 years. He built those soda machines and cigarette machines, bent the steel. Never missed it. Could build anything. Could go into a junkyard and build a car if you wanted to. Great carpenter, do all these things, but I think he missed his calling. Should have been a stuntman. Yeah. So yeah, we had a tough life. We made it though. We made it. Yeah. Now, like I said, I work over at Juvie. I like my job. Enjoy working with kids. And I try to tell them. I even tried to talk to administration. You know, they said we're going to build a swimming pool for the juveniles. I said, really? I said, so you believe that murderers need to swim? They said, yes. So, okay. They sent 9 murderers swimming. Only 8 came back. Yeah. I said, oh, there you go, guys. That was real smart. Yeah. They said, can you believe this? Yes. They're called murderers for a reason. Yeah. Talked to a kid the other day, and when you try to talk to them, the parents love to give their kids these names. Because, when I'm in LA, I love to tell people when I meet them, I said, if you'd like for me to say hello to any of your family members or friends, I will. Little Pookie, Ray Ray, Boo Boo, Nana, Angel. Every angel I know is a murderer. So anybody you want me to talk to, I will, just to say hello, And I don't know why they give these kids these names. I talked to 2 kids named Socrates and Aristotle. I said, hey man, your father and your mom named you after famous philosophers. Famous what? Philosopher. No, I was named after my uncle. I said, stand over there next to Toilet. He said, I said, what's your name again? Toilet. How do you spell that? Toilet. He said, it's French. I said, I just love Paris. I ain't never met a Frenchman named Toilet. Do you guys know any Frenchmen named Toilet? No. Yeah. It takes all kinds, man. I don't know why they give them those names. Yeah. Doing all kinds of stuff. I was working on a project at home. I was painting a table, and I wanted to get some spray. I went to Home Depot to get some spray paint. I'm there, and as I go to the spray paint cage, there is a security guard at the spray paint cage. I said, he says, sir, can I see some ID? I said, ID? He said, yes. I said, hey bro, shouldn't you be guarding the axes and the hammers? I mean, I saw somebody come in here with a hockey mask on. Somebody's going to lose their life. No, sir, you need ID. Really? And we only started that because in LA, we have kids that climb up on freeway signs to put up their name. Why they do this, I don't know. I've lived there almost 40 years. I've never thought in my lifetime to climb up on a freeway sign to put up my name. Have you guys ever thought about putting your name in? Oh, she's thought about it. Yeah. I don't know why people want us to know who they are. It's like Facebook when people take pictures of their feet. Why? All these selfies. My niece said, I have over 3,000 friends. Then call them up and borrow money from them. You have 3,000 friends, ask them for money. Do not ask me. But yeah, we have that. At the job, they don't even understand. They take pictures of the feet. And I actually met my girlfriend on the Facebook app, if you can believe that. Yeah, I met her on the Facebook app, and we've been together. First date, went and had coffee. Yeah. And young people told us, that's boring. You do want to know who you're talking to, right? Do I have to have a martini with everybody that I talk to? Can I just have a cup of coffee and find out who she is? And, she's a CPA. I don't have to pay for someone to get my taxes done anymore. That's a great deal. Can you imagine? It costs money. It's tax season. Last year, I paid almost $1,000 for to get my taxes done. Yeah, now I'm getting it done for free. I think that cup of coffee was worth it. That was a good cup of coffee. Then we went and had lunch. But I regretted taking her to the Cheesecake Factory. Have you been to the Cheesecake Factory? Yeah. You seen the menu for the Cheesecake Factory? Looks like a Sears catalog. And she just lost her mind. Oh my God. And then the waiter comes, are you ready to order, sir? No, just hold on. Said, oh my God, look at all the martinis. You know what you're going to have? I said, yeah, I'm going to have men are easy. Give me a steak, potato, a beer. Done. Really? That's what you're going to have? Yes, we're going to have. And she's still going through. I said, what do you want? Martini? You have martini. You have margaritas? Oh, I don't know. Oh my God. I said, how about an appetizer? Oh yeah, well yeah. How about some chicken fingers? Really? That quick? Yeah, give us some chicken fingers. They bring back chicken fingers. We're still sitting there. I'm waiting for her. When the guy comes back, he said, sir, are you ready to order? I said, why don't you come back Christmas? Because we were still there. She couldn't make up her mind. She loved lemon martinis, with the lemon drop martinis. Yeah, look at her. She said, yeah, lemon drop martinis, yeah. And then she, or they love a good margarita, all these things. That's cool. But yeah, you got to order eventually, Got to order eventually. So, So yeah, but she was on me pretty tough for my job because I work with kids. She said, isn't that dangerous? I said, no. I said, look, I know how to talk to gangbangers. I'm sorry. I don't know where it came from. I was talking to a couple of gangbangers the other day, and I told them, I said, you can't be a good criminal and have medical ailments. He said, well, sir, I robbed 9 liquor stores. I would have got away with my 10th one if I'd have had my inhaler. If you can't breathe, you shouldn't be robbing people. He was wheezing with the gun. He was hanging out with the epileptic in the alley. They thought he had a machine gun. They just let him run around in a circle until they ran out of bullets. Take your medication before you decide to rob people. That's all I'm saying. That's all. So, and like I said, my job is considered stressful, but like I said, I enjoy it, Like my friend, any dog lovers in here? Dogs? You got what kind of dog you got?
Husky poodle.
A husky poodle? That's a heck of a combination. Husky poodle, never seen that. Anybody own a mastiff? What do you got?
Springer Spaniel.
There you go. I haven't seen those in a while. Springer Spaniel. Any Chihuahua? Anything like that? Mastiff. My friend said you should go and get a big ferocious dog. Get a Mastiff or a Rottweiler or a Pit Bull. Why would you get a dog that's so big if you forget to feed it, it would eat you? So, I went out and I went down to the pound and I got me a dog. I got me a beautiful Labrador and Pit Bull mix. Yes. Yeah. Named her Sasha. Yeah. Paid $60 for Sasha. Sasha did $7,000 the damage to my home. Showing on sprinkler system, eating gravel, digging ditches so deep I had Chinese people in my backyard. You guys are a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the evening. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Tymon Shipp, let me have one more time. You guys have a good time tonight?
Thanks so much.